browser. Yeah, so it says you can create a web Chrome client subclass or a web view client. So I'm just going to Google this. Which is like Java's, print to the console thing on Android. It'll print to this logcat thing here. Emulator. This would be toast dot about all that stuff again. Inside this argument here, is like you can either do short or long, so it's very customizable. So, alright, well, let's try it again, see what it does. It says hi, so that's good. But it didn't load our page like we wanted.
Right.
On page finished. Oh, so we wanna load set web view client. Should override URL loading. So we need to override this function inside of this, which we are already. Like making it final, making the variables final allows you to use them inside of these like anonymous inner classes and stuff that you would have in here. But it says it doesn't like something.
Semicolon.
Where?
35.
How'd you spot that?
Nice. The little squiggle line.
It's like a hawk.
I make a bunch of mistakes all the time. There you go.
Hey!
Woo woo.
Woo, Dylan!
So now we have.
I'm really impressed by
We've
that.
invented Google.
Hey, so change it from Google to Spark Tuscaloosa.
Alright.
Dance demands.
I don't think we have HTTPS. It will.
Yes, sir. Just taking certificates.
You can just search it. Hey!
Look
Spark
at that.
Tuscaloosa.
Need to work on some of that center.
And now we've got a mobile app.
Now we have a mobile app. Yeah.
I know, yeah.
Good job. Thanks,
So it
Jan.
says-
Thanks, Dylan.
You see it says hi whenever we like, cause what it's doing is it's whenever the URL is loading, like it intercepts it before it gets to like, I'm guessing like the underlying operating system, which would open something like Chrome, and then it just does whatever you want it to do before it does that. So we can make it say like click the web page, something, and we'll make it short because we don't like seeing it for a long time. Well, see, that's the other nice thing about Android Studio is it tells you all those compile time mistakes before you spend all this time compiling it.
Yay, JavaScript.
So now we click the web page, even though we just loaded it. So we can go to events. Is this the right page?
It looks.
I don't know if that
So,
calendar's display.
is it emulating a browser or
Mm-hmm.
it's just like an emulator?
Well, yeah, it's like I guess it's just like a built-in thing in Android or something like that.
I want to say it uses Chrome.
Probably.
And I think you can even bring in like Chromium, like if you want to use like the new.
Yeah.
I said it's Chrome
So,
kiosk mode.
now we can,
In kiosk mode?
Yeah, it's in kiosk mode.
if you like,
Lock down.
one of the other reasons that I really like Android Studio is that it provide like I made this emulator because it's like it's a Google phone, which Google is just stock Android. It doesn't have like a bunch of crap added to it, you know. And but you can pick from like pretty much any phone that you've ever wanted or not wanted to use, you know, and like make an emulator out of it. And then you can go in there and you can say like, well, I want it to think that have denied voice status, and like I don't even know what this is, but you can
There's something, that's cool.
and I can say I got poor cell signal.
Oh, that would be good.
You can upload a file that has like GPS data in it to see like to simulate somebody like moving around, you know, while they use the app or something like that.
Oh, okay, so it rewrites
Yeah.
that XML file as it
Mhm.
goes. That's cool.
And you can like I can just say I don't even know what location this is, but
Not a location.
Mars?
all right, we'll just say 90.
We just went around a couple of times.
Oh, see, that's the other thing is this emulator keeps all the apps that I've loaded onto it running. So I can, well, I don't want to do that. I can open back up LiveBusy, which everybody should. See, so this is my location.
That must be home, that's 3 points off.
I can't remember how to zoom out on this thing. Well, yeah, where this is probably like, it's like either. Sure.
That's a good guess.
So,
So you
Anyway.
mentioned that it can support a bunch of different phones. If
Mhm.
you were trying to test for different Android devices,
Mhm.
is that what you would do? Is just load them into
A new
pick like the
emulator.
top 10 emulators and load
Yeah.
it that way?
that'd be the best way to do it. You'll never be able to do all of them because there's like thousands of them, you know. But you can do a few. Like I would just say one of the big differences, one of the things that actually crashed my app when I had made it. I made it originally to run on Android 4 to like 6 or 7. I think 7 had just come out when I made it, and on 6 they made find location like a dangerous permission. Go figure, you know. but like, so that means that you have to request it. Like whenever they first install your app, you have to request it, like specifically from them. You know, they can't just like hit allow. You know, you have to like specifically request it. So it was crashing because I wasn't doing that because the emulator that I've been running was running on Android 5. You know, so a lot of times that's the thing about Android is there's a lot of people that are still running like Android 4. You know, they're up to like 8 now. You know, you don't have that problem with iOS. I think it's something like 90% of people are on the latest operating system. With Android, you know, that's not the case. So that's why when I made that new project, you remember it asked me like what was the lowest API I wanted to support.
Mm-hmm.
The higher you go, you know, the newer features and stuff you can use, but the lower you go, the more people you can actually get to use your app.
So then let me ask you about deployment. So
Mhm.
when you compile all that up and you make a,
Sure, I actually just did that yesterday. So the first thing I do, oh, that's not it. Is Google, the Google Developer Console, because they don't have a good, I can't remember the URL ever. So this is mine. It costs $20 to make a Google Developer account, which
One
is pretty,
time?
yeah, one-time fee.
he's 25.
Oh, is it? Oh, man. Well, that sucks. Extra 5 bones.
25%.
Yeah. So
After a year.
when I made it, it was 20. But anyway, like,
Inflation.
yeah.
Google's
So this
gonna
is-
turn a profit this year.
So you can you can see all your install data. As you can see, my app is very popular. It has one active install. It's very, very good.
I go to the 1 year.
From
I
this room?
installed it a little while back.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. I think I still got it on here.
1 year.
When are you gonna
6. All right.
Hooray!
Oh,
When
yeah.
are you gonna get iOS?
I could just.
Whenever I get around
Did you just
to it.
install it?
I don't know.
I have a script that runs on my phone that downloads it and then uninstalls it and downloads it again.
One of the cool things is well, let's see if I can find one that. Well, it won't let me
Hey,
just pick
let me
all
ask
of
you
them.
this, so whenever you monetize it, you go to AdSense or something like that,
Mhm.
and then, you know, so like for your app, you know, so
Mhm.
you wanted like an ad to pop up on that map,
Mhm.
is it still just the same kind of like JS code or something like that you stick in there, or?
Honestly, I don't know. I never did that. But you know, that is a good question. I would think that it being Google, they would probably have that down pat because that's like how they make money. You know.
Exactly.
Could it
So-
be a Spark ad that you
A
pop
Spark
up there
ad?
for free?
Sure,
Oh, yeah.
sure. Yeah, always
That
open.
that one user.
Get that one user to come on over.
So can you see that I'm using it right now, or does it?
I don't know.
How much
We don't have the ad.
details I'll just give you?
One of the things is if the person, you know how when an app crashes, it asks you if you want to send a crash report.
Mm-hmm.
Like, well, normally I wouldn't do that because I'd be like, well, I don't want them knowing about what I'm. But it really does help because it gives you like the full stack trace of what happened. You know. So that, I mean, that's all it does. It doesn't tell me like this is Dan and he lives in whatever. You know. You know?
Right.
So, it actually, there's a lot of stuff in here that I don't know how to use, and it actually made it, because I was trying to update the app last night, and it made it like a huge pain because there's so much stuff that you can do. So, I'm pretty sure what you do is, they got like all this stuff in here that they're trying to get me to do. So, you see it says I support 9,135 devices and one is using it. So that's great.
That's cool.
Yeah. So
Market penetration.
yeah, that's right. Market. So I can't remember how to do it. Android make new release. I just did this yesterday.
It didn't like you Googled it yesterday.
Mm-hmm. So release management, and then I go to app releases.
Manage.
So what was your question, Dan?
Yeah, how do you roll it out? You know?
Okay.
Yeah, how do
Oh,
you
I
get it
would-
into the Play Store?
I would just go here, like for a completely new app, what you would do is just go in here, and then I would say,
Say you didn't want to put it on the Play Store.
if I didn't want to put it on the Play
Yeah, so
Store,
you just wanted to create a.
well, you have to generate the APK to begin with anyway, if you just want to generate, because like I can generate the APK, and
Just
then you
put it
could
on
like
the
plug
phone.
your phone, you could just like plug it in to plug your phone into my computer, and I could just like drop it. So it's kind of this key store crap, which is they got to figure out something better to do, you know. So I don't know.
Oh.
I'm trying to get my key store. So see, you have to check both of these boxes. Why they aren't checked by default, I don't know, because it won't work if they're not. But like, I don't know what you would do.
Why are they even there?
Yeah, that's Android for you. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So then just hit finish, and then you see that it's running. And
But
then
at minimum,
in a few seconds, it's either going to complain or it's complaining. So, the key was tampered with. Yeah, because
Is that you tampering?
I'm tampering with my own key. Well, because here it says remember passwords, but it will never remember this one. So like what I actually ended up
I
having
was
to
trying to
do
make the hash.
was I had to find a log file that was generated over a year ago when I made the password to begin with, and I got it from that. And that's how I uploaded
It kept your
the-
password in plain text in the log file?
Yeah, it did. Well, yeah, exactly. That's Android once again. So maybe that's it. That's the other thing is it won't tell you until it tries to build it.
Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't like that either. So now we're gonna try it again.
You wanna try mine?
Try your key store.
No, my password.
Uh,
For characters,
yeah, well, it's like,
it's like 1, 2, 3 at the end.
Password.
Exactly. Password 1. Password 2.
yeah. When I made it, I was just like trying to get it done, you know.
Yeah.
Did you record the video also?
Did I? Like, I think he actually did a pretty good job.
I thought he did too.
Mhm. Pretty good use of.
I want
that
to pick
CS
your brain
person or
afterwards where
MIS
you got all this
It was
video
CS.
from.
Mhm. No, it worked. Great. That's unusual.
Which password was it?
Yeah, exactly. Wait.
Now
Where else did you use that password?
you see here.
What's your social security number?
That's right. That's my password. I can't tell
And
you.
your date of birth.
I said you could probably
So-
Google it with
so-
Equifax.
So,
5555555.
so it generated this file apprelease.apk. So if I was going to upload a new release, I would go to browse files, and I would here, which I don't. Well, I mean, I guess.
Is your phone ready?
I know, there's
Oh my,
9,000 phones.
yeah, 9,000 potential phones.
So after you do this, could I search? I could go
It
and try
takes
to update it?
It takes it a little bit to propagate, you know.
Okay.
Different version.
Aw.
Yeah. So I did a. So
Thanks
I
a lot.
think you have to you have to go in and like you have to set a version. You have to set it up here. Like you have to set like 1.4 or something. We don't need to do it because I haven't changed anything. But yeah, that's.
Okay.
And it's super simple. Like with Apple, when you upload something, I think they have like an actual person look at it, you know. But Android, they don't care for whatever reason. They'll just like let you upload that stuff willy nilly, you know. Like when I was making it, I was like trying to make it super secure, and like I even had like a privacy policy and stuff that I made, and then I uploaded it, and it was just up there in like an hour, you know.
Yeah.
Like nobody cares.
Like Sergio Brin sitting there, is this gonna work?
Mm-hmm. But
Looking for the next big one.
Exactly. I'm busy.
I can view my entry in the Google Play Store. 2 5-star reviews.
Oh.
More to talk about.
Versus Ionic or something that will allow you to kind of, you know, deploy it.
You're like
Swift.
Swift. Is that the name of the IDE?
Yeah.
Xcode is
Xcode?
Okay,
Okay.
so
Yeah. I remember there was somebody in class that they made something in like Unity, which I think is like C#, and there's a way that you can export that to both iOS and Android, but I'm sure it has some limitations, obviously, or like nobody would ever develop. They could just instantly push to both, you know. But
And I know like literally nothing about any of this.
that's
But
fine.
how easy would it be for you to replicate this for other schools?
Pretty easy. That's what I made it to do. You know, none of them wanted to, but yeah, you could. I can actually show you this is my server. It is some very bad code that I wrote because I knew nobody would look at it.
The version of Laravel.
Just 5.3. So like, I'm using all free stuff. I'm using Heroku to do everything. You can actually make most apps now without having to pay any money to anybody. You know, you don't even put your credit card in there. But so, what I'm going to do is try to remember this command that I ran to get into my database.
Command R might be good to then type in Heroku.
Command R.
Just kidding.
I think it's like
Certain bash shells have R, which will let you like go through history.
Hey
There we go.
Dylan,
Huh?
what if you wanted to expand this beyond just universities, but just study spaces? So you've got
Mm-hmm.
the university, you've got coffee shops, you've got the public library, you've
Mhm.
got other
Working space,
places that like Barnes and Noble that would have like free Wi-Fi that you would be able to have a quiet steady space.
That was
Is-
another.
Is that a use case for this?
Like you can see here, for some reason Heroku Postgres SQL or whatever, it doesn't like for you to. Oh yeah, I keep forgetting I'm not in PHP Storm anymore because my license ran out. It doesn't like you to be able to use SQL Pro, so I have to do everything from the command line. But you can look at my whole database here, all my secret information. So yeah.
Library busyness table. I like that. I like the way you name your stuff.
It's all an API, so it doesn't matter what my tables are named. I can name them whatever, you know. So when you look at the app here, and you look at these markers that are not shut, there they are. So these markers are all
In those tables.
they're in the markers.
Thank you,
So yeah, so I can just say. And then these are all the markers that I have. Those are the lat long points. The place ID was from Google Places API, which is pretty cool, but they will try to rip you of every dollar you got. Like that, because
Really?
well, they limit you to like 2,000 free requests a day, and each request is like for an individual place. So for just one person, if one person were to come on here and load this screen that has 4 libraries on it, it would use up 4 requests. If they refresh the page, which if they refreshed it like that, that's another 4 requests.
Oh my
You know,
God.
Let's
so
pull
that
the
you
phones
can-
out real quick. Let's see how quickly we can get through
Let's
it.
crash it.
I ended up not doing that, and what actually the library people actually let me use their API that they use for like the hours and stuff, because that's all I was getting from Google anyway. So like,
Really?
yeah, they actually did. However,
So you could scale this up, not just for, you might have to abstract another layer out, you know, they pick a
Mhm.
state or something like that, or maybe it picks where they are and it shows them the closest by location. But
mhm,
you could scale it up to do every library, you know, in the
Mhm.
country, just with a bunch of data.
mhm.
What about the background pictures?
Yeah, well, that's all local files right now on Android.
Okay.
But that was just to get the grade, you know.
Yeah.
But it's all up in there, you know. If somebody wants to use it or whatever. So this is how I make my API request. It's just like a curl thing. And let me show you why I did this substring 6 here. Like this is the libraries. They're supposed to be like really good, right? What is this?
Yeah, what is that?
What, like why is that on there? You know.
Because they got a bad substream.
Here's another thing. Like
Nice.
it doesn't let me do it, but
It's still there.
so that tells me, and also it wasn't modified. It's been like over 2 years since I filed it, so they don't, you know, they're just like, oh, whatever, here you go. You
We
know?
probably know the people who built that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Do
did
you?
used to work over Agoria's first several
He
years.
didn't build that, but we probably know who did.
Yeah.
Will.
We should take a screenshot and be like, did you do this?
Yes.
So
Fix it.
Clean up your
Will is
API,
the
bro.
Texas-
Clean up your API. Well, let me send it, because they'll be like not expecting that.
I was trying to get to your library data and I found this API, but I couldn't get the data because
so
there were these weird characters
I
in it.
don't know.
I guess one thing we can talk about is like some of the different requests that it makes to get some of the different information. So to load this page here, it pulls in all the, it's a little slow. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, it pulls in like all the markers, and that uses this endpoint, which if any of y'all are familiar with Laravel, which I made it in Laravel and not Lumen because I envisioned like having a full CMS or whatever, people can like add their locations and all that stuff, but it never happened. But also like y'all want to see my thing that checks the API key?
Yes.
Is that a walk?
No.
Okay.
You're gonna,
This is not real.
Yes.
it's ultra secure because there's only one key.
Oh, wow.
So don't
And it's
look
on the
at it.
internet now.
Don't look at it. Don't look at it. It's-
That was your password on the other thing too, right?
yeah. I remember all those numbers by themselves. So, Okay, so you see this markers endpoint, it's a Laravel resource thing, which I don't know why I did that, because as you can see, I don't use any of the resources except one, so I could have just used one, but like, I grab all the markers from my database, and then I do the API call to the library thing, and then I'm just looping through them and setting all this data here.
Oh, so it always puts all the markers
Yeah,
on there.
right now.
Right,
yeah.
well, no,
Yeah.
I'm not beating you up.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not like you scaled it up.
You know,
I'm just asking
but
a question.
yeah, it sets all this stuff here because I just wanted to, because nobody's gonna look at it, you know. So I just made it. However, all my commit messages were just fixed, like hundreds of them. It just no information at all.
Yeah.
So you grab all the votes and stuff here, and then it just returns a JSON. So if you want, we can heroku-app.com/markers.
Here we go. Wrong project. Oh no. Okay. I see you.
That's the key. Oh, look at that. Look how nice.
Banging, man. That's a quick response.
Did you do any caching on that, or is that just?
Nah, it's no caching. That's just Heroku, man. Free tier. No money. I spent no money.
Where are those weird characters in the front of your request?
I didn't do that because I'm not going to talk bad about the library people. They were nice to me. So yeah, that's how. So that's the response that that comes back from. That comes back in this request, and then as you can see, I did a string request. I should have done a JSON array request, but I didn't think about that a year ago or whatever. So I just like did the string request, and then I read it all into a JSON array,
Okay.
and then I just looped through it, and like I ended up making like all these callbacks and stuff, so that you know, because you have all this stuff that you want to do, and then like whenever it's done, you want to be able to return that to your activity, you know. So I have like this main activity over here that so says on connected. Let me just find all the places I'm using the network manager at. So right here, just as a side note, where I do this, that's just initializing it, because that's like the first step in the application. So I'm just initializing it there. And then, okay, so this is the read locations thing, the read locations endpoint, which is right here. So the first parameter is in a array map, which is just a data structure that's in Java that has a string and a lat long, and it's called locations because you gotta like type everything in Java, like you have to put all that stuff, and it's got the context, which is just a reference to the main activity, so that you can and then a callback, which is just whatever you want to run after this whole thing is finished. So I do all this stuff. I loop through this, and I build up this big JSON array, and then I call this on success callback here with the locations that I just built up. So we come back to here. I just made a new array map to pass through it because that's what it builds up into the location. I pass this because that's the context, because that's the main activity, and then for the callback, I created an interface here. You see, I made a bunch of different interfaces. I probably, if I had done a better job, I probably could have made like one interface and just extended from it, but I didn't. I made several. So this is a marker callback, which the only method that it has is this on success with with this one parameter, and so. The reason that I did that is so that I can have like a global variable called locations that I use this external class to read a bunch of locations into it, and then that way I can just like keep keep it all in here, you know. And then it just calls this check distance function, which is, I think it's down here at the bottom.
We got any other questions from the group? We're just over an hour.
Oh,
So your app is run dependent on the votes of the users? Right?
yeah, it uses the votes to calculate like how busy it is. You can look at my algorithm here. It's super secret. It's
Let's get you a pad on this, man.
Algorithm.php.
let's see if I can find it. It's really something, man. Right here. This is how I determine if the library is busy or not.
Not busy, busy, very busy.
That's it. That's all there is to it.
All you need is response anyway.
That's
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Thanks, Dylan.
Mhm.
That's awesome.
Not busy.
Yep.
Thanks again, Dylan, for the presentation and being in the hot seat, taking all the questions.
Yeah.
Don't lose your fix your APIs, people. Come on.
Yeah.
So on Thursday next week, yeah.
Bandit Brothers or Black Warrior?
Bandit Brothers is what we sent out on the newsletter, so we're gonna stick with that.
Cool.
Yep. And also.
Because that's the rotation.
Yep. And we'll probably mix Black Warrior in there somewhere. 'Cause
Black Warrior
it's a good
December.
place.
No, January. December.
We'll mix it in there.
December.
So, anyways, if anybody has any topics they want to talk about or hear about, a couple people click the link. Tell one of us if you don't feel like using the link, and we'll add that in there for you. So, thanks again, everybody. Josh,
If you're a new member, check out sparktuscaloosa.com. We've got a newsletter. We do a few events every month, so we'd love for y'all to sign up for our mailing
we
list.
have stickers.
Or grab a sticker while you're here.
Stickers
too.
are by the
Thank you, Ron.
pizza
So,
and the vegetables. I did put out veggies eventually.
So thanks very much.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
You like it for the whole thing?
You crushed.
You crushed.